Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to another one of my Death Battle prediction videos. Some of you guys may be a little surprised to see that I'm doing this video, considering that in my reaction video to Samurai Jack vs. Afro Samurai, I said that I wasn't going to be doing this prediction, and also in the last video that I made, I said that was going to be the last video before I went on vacation. However, I made that video a while ago, so I didn't know what Death Battle was going to be, the next one after Samurai Jack vs. Afro Samurai, and I decided to change my mind about, not making a prediction for it, because I want to see if I can make more predictions for Death Battle, like seeing if I can quickly do some research, even on characters that I'm not that familiar with, to get a better idea, and, just to be more involved with the Death Battle community and stuff like that, because, I haven't made that many Death Battle predictions as of recently, because they haven't been using too many characters that I'm really invested with, and I do know one of these characters very well, so I thought that this would be a good place to start for something like that. But anyway, now that that's out of the way, this is a prediction for Carnage versus Lucy. Carnage from Marvel and Lucy from Elfen Lied, something, I don't exactly know how it's pronounced, something like that, Elfen something. And, I don't think really anyone expected, this matchup to happen, ever. Like, I've never seen this suggested, ever. Like, I'm sure it had to have been suggested in order for Death Battle to have done it, unless they just wanted to do it themselves, something that they wanted to do. But, I mean, like, I've never seen this one suggested. I've never heard of Lucy, or Elfen Lied, whatever, I've never heard of Lucy before that Death Battle was announced, so, I really don't, I just never heard of this one before, and this one was probably unexpected to a lot of people. When I think of Carnage, like, the best, opponent I can think of for him is, like, Alex Mercer, but clearly it's not him, it's Lucy, so yeah, that's what it is there. But regardless, it's what we have, so it's what we're predicting. Before I get into this, though, I just want to say that, I want to get my biases out of the way, or my potential biases out of the way, because I want to be real with you guys, and I don't want to be, like, hiding anything, and I want you guys to be aware of, like, where my head is at. So, like I said, I've never heard of Lucy before. I've never heard of the anime, I've never heard of her, and really all the information I have for her is the limited amount of research that I was able to do within the time that I found out that this fight was happening. So yeah, I don't know that much about Lucy overall. I've never seen the show, I don't know all of her feats, I don't know, like the context of everything that she's done, so just keep that in mind. As opposed to Carnage, I really, really, really love Carnage. As you guys know, or if you're new, as you know now, I really love, Marvel and DC and, the comics and everything like that. So, I'm much more familiar with him about what he can do, what he has done, what he's survived, everything like that. So, that's essentially where I'm at. I have one character that I know more about and that I like a lot more. Granted, I don't know Lucy, so that's not really a fair comparison for who I like more. But the point is, it is a character that I do really like, and one that I know more about than the other character. However, I am going to try my very best to make sure that bias doesn't get in the way, and just to show that, I'm going to go over where I think the advantages are at first, and then show you who I think is going to win after I say all of that, because, some people might say, like, oh, you're going for your preferred character, or, oh, you're going for the other character to make yourself look not biased, so I just want to get out all of the advantages right away, that I believe that these characters have, because both of these characters have a number of advantages over the other, at least from what I've gathered, so it's a pretty cool fight. So yeah, I'm just gonna get that out of the way and then move on to who I actually think is going to win for the reasoning. So let's talk about Lucy's advantages first. One of the big advantages that Lucy, I believe, has over Carnage is just pure power. Like, from what I understand, Lucy has been able to, like completely, demolish an island or something along the lines of that, with her vectors or her invisible arms. Is this, her invisible, yeah, I guess invisible arms is the best thing to call them. But yeah, like, she was, with her invisible arms, she was able to, like, completely destroy an island or something along the lines of that, sink an island. And, that, that is ridiculous, being able to do that, like, even if it wasn't just in one shot, being island level means that you're pretty powerful. And she's done other things like that. Like, she's even said, I think, at one point, or it was very heavily implied, that she could destroy all of humanity, or she could destroy the Earth, or something along the lines of that, which is what I've heard in a lot of predictions and a lot of, like, areas, in research, but the thing is, we never actually saw her do that, so we don't know if that's actually the case. Some people say it is the case, and the reason why she didn't was because she was stopped, and some people like to think that, the reason why she didn't is because she couldn't do it. Regardless, though, I'm going to come back to that in a little bit, but the point is, I think it's safe to say that in terms of, like, pure power, not necessarily strength, but pure power, she is probably more powerful than Carnage. And I think that's what a lot of people who are thinking that Lucy is going to win, that's what they're relying on, you know, because, like, that's the biggest advantage I think she has over Carnage. And, you know, Carnage, he is pretty powerful. He's able to do a lot of, you know, crazy things and, you know, destroy, like, buildings. You know, his strength is ridiculous and his power is still, like, it's pretty awesome. But just because, you know, she was able to destroy an island and, you know, potentially destroy the world, I think it's a safer bet that, you know, she just has more power. Plus, apparently in the manga, she has done things that are, like, absolutely ridiculous. I think the island thing was one of them. And, you know, that means, you know, like, more impressive stuff than she's done, you know, in the anime. So yeah, overall, I think that she does have the advantage in terms of power, and even though this category is a little close, I also want to say she has the advantage in terms of speed, at least most of the time, and I will get more into that in a little bit, but basically, apparently her vectors were able to, like, reach outer space from the Earth's surface in less than a minute, you know, and that puts her at, like, massively hypersonic, speeds with her vectors, and, you know, that means, you know, with her attack capability, she would most likely be able to attack at least somewhere near that speed. Carnage, however, he's fought very fast characters such as Venom and Spider-Man and other characters like that, and we've seen, you know, he is very fast as well, and he can attack very, very quickly. But just because she's able to, you know, move her vectors, you know, that fast, I'm not sure if we've actually seen Carnage do anything like that, at least, you know, under normal circumstances. You know, he does also have his own, like, tendrils that he can make, which I'll get into in a little bit, which I think actually have moved at similar speeds to that, or maybe just a little bit slower, but on average, because that's her main use of attack, and, you know, versus Carnage's main use of attack, you know, like ripping people to shreds or whatever, I want to say that she is most likely faster. And we have to, you know, and they're both able to, like, catch bullets, you know, they're both definitely, you know, past the point of supersonic, but I do think that just because, you know, she was able to get all the way to the Earth's, to you know, outer space, just with, you know, her vectors moving so fast, I want to say she most likely has that advantage. Again, you know, I might be getting a lot of this wrong, so, you know, tell me if I am in the comments below, or if I'm getting something completely wrong or, like, out of context, because you guys probably know more than I do, but yeah, that's where I am at with that. So yeah, but Carnage is still pretty fast, and, like, I'm not trying to, you know, make these characters sound bad or anything like that, because they're both actually pretty powerful. And, you know, the other big thing that we have to keep in mind is that, you know, these vectors are completely invisible, and I'm not necessarily sure if Carnage would be able to detect them or sense them or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of like, you know, it kind of reminds me, you know, someone even commented this in one of my videos, and I completely agree. It kind of reminds me of, like, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure with, like, the stands, you know, like, they're the invisible source of power, essentially. So I'm not sure if Carnage would necessarily be able to sense them or detect them or whatever, which could put him at a real disadvantage. But those are the two big advantages that I think that Lucy has over Carnage. Now let's talk about the advantages that I think Carnage has over Lucy. First, in terms of strength, I definitely think that Carnage has the advantage. Carnage has been it's been stated multiple times, like basically everywhere, that Carnage is stronger than both Spider-Man and Venom combined. And that's crazy, you know, like, I know, like, at very, very, very least, and this is basically a low ball, very least he can lift up to 50 tons. But considering that Venom was able, like, they even did their own calculations, you know, in Death Battle, that he was able to, you know, to lift, like, 200 tons, Venom, you know, in a weakened state. That means that Carnage is most definitely stronger than that, you know. If we're going by that, you know, adding Spider-Man's, you know, like, average of 10 tons onto that, you know, that means he'd be able to lift, you know, over 210 tons. Maybe it's not quite like that. Maybe I'm, you know, maybe I shouldn't really be looking at Venom's best feat in terms of determining that, but regardless, the point is he's still ridiculously strong, and her vectors, Lucy's vectors, they do possess superhuman strength, and they have been able to do some crazy things, you know, like breaking down walls, and, you know, I know those it's not the best of what she's been able to do, but just in terms of physical strength and, you know, striking power, well, maybe not striking power, but, you know, in terms of, like, physical strength, you know, up close, I do definitely think that Carnage has the advantage there, probably stronger than than the Vectors. That's just me, though. So Lucy, I believe, is just more powerful, like more destructive capability. You know, as I'm not sure if Carnage would be able to destroy an island as quickly as she would, is essentially what I'm saying. But in terms of physical, pure brute strength, Carnage has the advantage. I also think that Carnage has the advantage in terms of versatility. And this is something that I don't think a lot of people are bringing up. Not necessarily the versatility bit, but what I'm about to say. I don't think a lot of people are bringing this up, and it might not even affect the fight that much, but here's something that's interesting. Obviously, Lucy's main thing is that she has vectors and they're invisible. However, Carnage has also been able to produce like dozens of tendrils at once, which basically have the same effect. Like being able, stretching, like almost like extra arms. And apparently they've been able to stretch like kilometers, just like Lucy. I think like they've been able to stretch like 2 kilometers for her, but his have also been able to stretch kilometers and have also been able to move at hypersonic speeds. So that's another thing that's something that he has that, Lucy already has. That's already something that he's kind of like evened it out with a little bit. Obviously, he wouldn't be using this all the time like how Lucy would be using it all the time, because, it's like the best thing she has going for her, but, that does mean, he has more options if he wants to, like, even the playing field a little bit. Definitely in that category. Also, it's pretty clear, we've seen that symbiotes can turn invisible. So as her vectors are invisible, Carnage can also turn invisible. So that's something that I think Carnage also has, that's, again, that's something that, he could pull out of the air. Again, he just has more options. And that's not, and that's not even taking into account, the stuff that he has that Lucy doesn't have at all, such as, detachable weapons, forming weapons just with his, with the symbiote, like doing everything like that. Like Carnage is extremely versatile. He's shown that he can use his versatility to a very effective degree, like more so than Venom. And Venom, they already stated, Death Battle, that Venom, his versatility is basically limited just to his imagination. And we've seen that he can do some crazy things, and Carnage can do even crazier things, or at least do them to a greater degree of effectiveness. Again, it's just to his limited imagination. And considering that we're talking about a serial killer with like an insane symbiote attached to it, I'm pretty sure he can think of some pretty destructive things that he can create. Definitely more, not more destructive things, but like more things than Lucy has with her. Again, like detachable weapons, or, like spikes, or, like just weapons he creates with his hands or whatever. Again, he just has more options. And again, he has his tendrils and he can turn invisible. So, those are things that he has that wouldn't necessarily be able to even the odds out with Lucy completely, but it would mean that he had, like, he has some tricks up his sleeve that Lucy has, at least to some extent, if that makes any sense to you guys. So yeah, strength I believe Carnage has, versatility I think he has, but the biggest advantage that Carnage has is definitely his durability and stamina, along with his healing factor. Carnage he's extremely durable. He's been able to take hits from extremely powerful and strong characters such as Spider-Man, Venom, Hulk. It took both Spider-Man and Venom to be able to beat Carnage. And we already know Carnage is stronger than both of them combined. So, he's extremely strong and also extremely tough. He's been able to take hits from, from extremely strong characters. And he's apparently more resistant to fire and sonic waves than, and, all the other weaknesses that symbiotes have than Venom is. So, that means, he is, he's built up a lot of tolerance to that. He basically, like, the weaknesses are basically non-existent at this point. It's honestly, pretty ridiculous. And, in terms of stamina, apparently the symbiote makes it so that he doesn't tire. So that means he's not really going to be, losing energy at any point anytime soon. The symbiote is just going to keep fueling him with energy. But the big thing is his healing factor. Because his healing factor is broken. Like, it's not even, like, I wouldn't even say it's ridiculous, which is a word I use a lot on my channel, or absurd or whatever. I would say it's honestly broken. Like, really, it's, like, what he's been able to survive is, like, off the charts. He's been able to survive being ripped in half, being cut into pieces, being decapitated on multiple occasions. He apparently even survived, like, he's had his head blown off, again, like the decapitation thing. He apparently also survived, like, a bomb that was supposed to be able to wipe out humanity, or at least that's what, it supposedly could do. And he was splattered, like, completely all over, the host was essentially disintegrated, but he was still able to regenerate from that. Like, that's insane. How the heck do you kill someone like that, Like, it's that kind of regeneration. So, that's a big thing, that Lucy's gonna have struggling, with her, just like how Carnage is gonna, struggle trying to, detect the arms or whatever, or get up close. Lucy's gonna have a hard time doing that. And when you compare it to Lucy's stamina and durability, it's impressive, but not that impressive. When it comes to the healing, she does have a healing factor, but it's more just accelerated. It's not, like, broken or anything like that. It's not ridiculous. And when it comes to her durability, she has apparently been able to survive, like, gunshots, or, or just, if she doesn't dodge it or catch it. And she's also been able to survive a bomb, I think, at one point, too. But, apparently I think she was actually killed, like, in her anime by just a simple bullet. I could be taking that out of context or something like that, but regardless, under any circumstances, that does mean that she is able to be killed by maybe not even that tough means, or not that powerful means. Sorry. So that means that, if Carnage gets up close, I definitely think he has the potential to take her out, and even though, like, the Vectors, apparently they don't tire either, like, they have, they show no signs of fatigue, but again, I just feel that, with the much lower durability and the much lower stamina and healing factor, of Lucy herself, I just think that, Carnage is going to eventually outlast her. So that's a big thing that I think Carnage has in his favor. And there are some categories that they really don't, that no one really has over the other, like Carnage and Lucy don't really use, like, fighting skill or intelligence, because they're kind of crazy, like, against each other, they don't really, that's not really what they're all about, obviously. They're more about, like, physical power and not thinking things through, because they're kind of both insane. But, yeah, I'm really excited for this fight. I'm really excited to see what Death Battle has to say about this, because both of these characters, as I've said, have a huge problem ahead of them. Carnage, I think he definitely has the potential to kill Lucy up close if he's able to get up close. The thing is, though, she has her vectors, which are completely invisible, and since she's able to stretch them like 2 kilometers long, I'm not really sure if, Carnage is going to get that opportunity, or if he does get that opportunity, it's a very slim chance. I just don't really see that happening that easily, like, I just don't think Carnage is able to get up close that easily. She's not going to allow him to do that. On the flip side, however, I don't see many ways that Lucy is able to kill Carnage at all. Like, Lucy, she has been known, like, to rip people in half or whatever, but Carnage has survived that. He regenerated from that. He's regenerated from ridiculous stuff. Like, essentially, like, the host being disintegrated, he's still regenerated from that. Like, how even, and she doesn't have any fire or sound abilities, to my knowledge, but even if she did, again, Carnage is, like, he's Venom on steroids, like, he's, and I know that's kind of off topic, but, he's Venom on steroids, like, he's a more powerful symbiote. And, that means, he's more versatile, he's more resistant, like, he doesn't have, the weaknesses, at least not to the same extent that Venom does. So, yeah, I just feel like both of them are kind of, it's very hard to say, because they have their advantages over the other, and and each of them are at a they have a huge problem ahead of them. Like, it's going to be hard for either of them to win. Overall, though, and, you can call me biased, but I do think that Carnage would eventually pull out a win. And if you think that Lucy would win this fight, I definitely understand. I don't know that much about Lucy overall, so it could be the bias talking, or it could just be because I know more about Carnage, and I just think he's more impressive because I think he's done more stuff. I know that there are people who watch this channel who do think that Lucy would win. And if you think that Lucy would win, that's perfectly fine. Again, you can tell me your reasoning down in the comments below again, or, you can disagree with me. That's perfectly fine, and you could prove me wrong, rip me apart in the comments below, because I'd like to know more about Lucy and get a better grasp on this fight. But overall, I do think that Carnage is going to win this fight. And the biggest reason why, again, a big part of it is because of the healing factor. I just don't think that Lucy has the potential to actually do anything to Carnage. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. What she's been able to do to other characters, I just don't think it's going to work on Carnage. Because again, Carnage, like, decapitation, ripped in half, a bomb that can wipe out humanity, still coming back. What more could you ask for, with that kind of regeneration? So even if we assume that, her power, her vectors, are powerful enough to wipe out humanity and destroy the planet, that might still not be enough to take out Carnage, just based on those facts. I don't want to say it's impossible, Because who knows? It might, like, I might be missing something for Lucy, and, you know, I don't like saying that things are impossible for something to happen, you know, for someone to kill someone. But I don't see it happening, at least not easily. Like, it's gonna be very, very, very hard for her to do that, especially since she has no prior knowledge about him. You know, and, you know, like, on the flip side, you know, honestly, she's kind of a glass cannon. I know she has regeneration to an extent, and I know she has enhanced durability to an extent. But if Carnage just gets lucky and he's able to get up close, I think he's going to be able to do some serious damage to her. And there's also the fact, again, that he can make those tendrils and make them invisible. So, you know, again, he's not even with her there, because I think she just, you know, that's the best thing about her. She uses them more often and probably to a greater degree of power. But overall, you know, he does have ways to make up for where he's losing at. You know, like, those things, apparently those tendrils can move ridiculously fast, maybe even as fast as Lucy's. Maybe not quite as fast, but, you know, at least approaching it. And, you know, maybe approaching it in terms of power. Again, that one's a little off for me, because just, she's so powerful. And if, you know, again, you know, if Carnage didn't have his regeneration, I might have gone for Lucy on this one. She has some advantages. But overall, I just don't really see any way that Lucy's going to be able to get past it. I just don't. And it's as simple as that. And again, you know, call me biased, tell me down in the comments below what you think, but that's honestly what I'm thinking. I try to do as much research as I can for both of the characters, and it might not look like it because I haven't gone too much into their feats or anything like that, but that from what I'm getting, from the general gists of the characters, that's what I'm thinking. And another big reason why I think this is going to happen is because, apparently, when Lucy, like, loses her horns, or, like, they get destroyed or whatever, she loses her vectors. So there is a chance that she could lose her vectors. And apparently, if she calls on too much power, basically, she slowly starts to eat herself away, or, like, she slowly starts to melt away. Her body starts to deteriorate, which, again, is another big problem with her stamina. So if she tries to, you know, kill Carnage and tries to draw out more power if it's not working, then she will eventually, you know, start losing, you know, life. You know, essentially she'll start eating herself away. And again, that's going to give Carnage an opportunity, I feel, to win. So again, that's another reason why I think Carnage is going to win. Even if he doesn't initially get the chance to, get past the vectors, you know, since they're invisible and they can move ridiculously fast, I think it could eventually happen. I honestly think it's a more likely thing to happen than Lucy being able to kill Carnage. His healing factor is just that great. So overall, again, I think Lucy has the advantage in terms of power, because, you know, she's a freaking ridiculously powerful anime character, and, you know, I think she probably has a slight advantage in terms of speed, at least most of the time. When you look at their general attacks, I think she is generally faster. But I do think that Carnage is overall physically stronger. I think he's more durable, he has better stamina, and he's more versatile. He has ways to even out the odds in terms of, you know, what Lucy has over Carnage, or has over him. You know, like, he can create invisible tendrils just like how she can create, or she has her invisible vectors, which again could even out the odds a little bit, maybe not to the same extent, but at least it gives him more options. And I feel that, you know, if he gets in close, he can rip her to shreds. But I feel like no matter what Lucy does, she's just not going to have the means to put him down. I also just feel that, you know, Lucy, you know, I could be getting this completely wrong, but I feel like she just doesn't have a lot, like, as much experience as Carnage does, at least in terms of fighting powerful characters. Because again, he's fought characters, you know, that are like planet busters, like Hulk, or, you know, could potentially destroy the planet. He's done it. He's destroyed a planet in a clash with Red She-Hulk. So yeah, you know, like, if he's able to survive that, and, you know, survive a bomb that can wipe out humanity, or potentially wipe out humanity, and we're looking at another character that could potentially wipe out humanity, you know, that's where my mind's at right now. But I want to hear what you guys think about this. Do you think that Lucy's gonna win? Do you think that Carnage is gonna win? Tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. If you have more reasoning for why Carnage would win, or if you think, you know, you have good reasoning for why Lucy would win, or you want to disprove something of mine, you know, leave it down in the comments below. I just feel that, you know, Carnage, the biggest thing is, you know, Carnage is more durable, and his healing factor is ridiculous. She's more of a glass cannon, and she could slowly eat away at herself if she uses up too much power. Plus, apparently there's this thing that, like, you can't really kill a symbiote. Apparently you don't just do that. So, you know, again, I don't really know what the extent of that is, and I don't really know how exactly that's going to work, or, you know, if that's going to really add anything to Carnage. But overall, again, just for those reasons that I think Carnage is going to win. But again, you know, tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd really love to hear them. Prove me right, prove me wrong, you know, whatever. I will react to this video, you know, Carnage versus Lucy, but it will take a while because I will be, you know, traveling during this time, and I probably won't be able to get to it until, you know, like the Sunday or Monday, you know, after it comes out. Please don't spoil it for me, please, because I feel like some of you, you know, like, you might just think, you know, like, oh, he's probably seen it by now, you know, I'll leave this or whatever, and then I end up getting spoiled. So please do not spoil it for me, whatever you do. You know, just assume that if the reaction is not up, I haven't seen it, because I most likely will not have seen it at that point. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please give this video a huge like. I always appreciate the likes. Comment down below what you thought of it, what you thought of the video, who you think's gonna win. You know, if you want to, again, you know, like say, like, oh, you don't know anything about Lucy, you know, go right ahead. You know, I really wouldn't blame you. You know, if you guys could subscribe to my channel, that'd be so great. That would really help my channel out. You know, I make predictions for characters that I'm, you know, into, or, you know, that I know about, and maybe, you know, like this one, characters that I might not be so into. Again, I am trying to make more predictions in general. I also have, you know, Death Battle reaction videos, and, you know, my own opinionated versus series called Who, When, and Why, where I just talk about, you know, what I think about popular debates and fights. But no matter what, your view is plenty of contribution. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. That's it for me. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.